Good evening. I call this meeting of December 15th, 2020 to order at 5 p.m. Patrick, do we have any public comments?
We do not, President Maher.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to call on Dr. Haglund, who will be conducting the swearing in of our new board members along with myself. Dr. Haglund.
Thank you, Board President Maher. It's the last time I get to say that for a while.
I know.
Well, tonight we get the opportunity to swear in you and our two new board members. And so hopefully you've got that oath of office in front of you.
Actually, it wouldn't show.
It wouldn't show.
And it said that my screen wasn't large enough.
Okay, so I'll chunk it up for you guys and you guys can just repeat after me all the way through it if that works.
It should.
So here we go. I, each of you state your name.
Steve Maher,
Kelly McCaughey,
Mary Jo Carry-On,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear.
swear or affirm,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
and do it all together if you like, that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will
support and defend the Constitution of the United States
United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any
mental
reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will
well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am
I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we say a few words? Is that okay, Dave?
Sure, please do.
Okay. I would like to just thank all the people who supported me, especially Ed and Emmeline Chen, Kathy Soldati, Zoe Francis, and then Chuck Abney and Bill Foley, and a special thank you to Mrs. Walker, who without her support, I would not have made it. So thank you. And my wife.
Good catch. Kelly, would you like to say anything?
Yes, I wanted to thank all of my supporters, parents, community members, residents, parents, children. I wanted to especially give great gratitude and thank you to my campaign team, my children, Kevin, Ryan, and Amelia, and the greatest support from my husband as well, Harsha. And I am very humbled and honored to take on this new responsibility for POSD. Thank you.
And Mary Jo.
I want to thank my husband and for Angela Ramirez for all your support, and all my teacher friends and all of my former students and parents. It's gratifying to know how much you still care, and I'm going to do my best to honor this, and I just appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
Very good, and congratulations once again, everybody.
Okay. At this time, the board will now move into closed session. Okay, the meeting will resume at 7 p.m. Good evening and welcome to our open session part of the board meeting tonight. I call this meeting to order at December 15th, 2020 at 7:05. This regular board meeting for Tuesday, December 15th, will be conducted completely online. The governor's executive order N-25-20 relaxes the Brown Act requirements for holding public meetings via teleconference. Updated public comment changes due to COVID-19. This meeting will be live streamed online. Please see the meeting agenda for the viewing link. Online speaker slips are available and the public will be able to call in using a computer or smartphone via a link which will be provided following submission of a speaker slip. A telephonic option will also be available once connected. The public speaker will be placed in an online waiting room. While in the waiting room, the public speaker should watch or listen to the meeting via the outlets above, as they will not see or hear the meeting while they are connected and waiting to speak. When the agenda item upon which the individual would like to comment is addressed, the speaker will be announced in the meeting as to when it is his or her time to speak to the school board or the board of trustees. The speaker will then be moved to the meeting for comment. TV 30 is allowing only audio at this time, adding a full screen public comment when the speaker is talking. Yellow comment forms are for items only on the agenda. Individual speakers shall be allowed no more than 2 minutes to address the board on this item for the sake of time. In an effort to make our board meetings more accessible to the community, we have a new process for accessing closed captioning and providing input through the public comment. Please find directions for accessing closed captioning on tonight's meeting agenda and also on PUSD's website. At this time, I'd like to call on Trustee Mary Jo Carrion to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Mary Jo. Okay, moving on, I'd like to introduce everyone tonight. Trustee Mark Miller, Trustee Joan Larson, our brand new trustee, Mary Jo Carrion, congratulations. Our brand new trustee, Kelly McCaughey. I'm Board President Steve Maher. Julio Hernandez, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Ahmad Shiko Laslami, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. Ed Dialazo, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services. Dr. Janelle Woodward, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning. Superintendent Dave Haglin. Patrick Gannon, Coordinator of Communications and Community Engagement. Lanita Villasenor, Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent, Dr. Haglin. And Brian Glasgow is our student representative to the board, Village High School. At this time, I'd like to do approval of the agenda. Any comments or
For the
pull?
organizational meeting or the regular board meeting? Okay.
It's
I'll move
approved
approval of the
organization
agenda.
And okay, second,
Second,
okay. Trustee Larson,
aye.
Trustee Miller,
Aye.
Trustee McCaughey. Trustee McCaughey.
Aye, sorry, muted.
That's okay. Trustee Mary Jo.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. The agenda is as we have. Okay, now we have the elections of officers for the coming year. I would like to nominate Joan Larson for school board president.
I'll
Second.
accept your nomination.
Oh.
And I'd like to move that Mark Miller be vice president.
I second.
I'll accept that.
I second both. Okay, let's do a roll call vote. First of all, for president for Joan Larson. Trustee Larson, yes, I take it.
Hey,
Trustee Miller,
Aye.
Trustee Meyer, aye. Trustee Carrion
Aye.
and Trustee McCaughey.
Aye,
Okay, now the election of vice president, Mark Miller. Okay, Trustee Larson,
aye.
Trustee Miller,
Aye.
Trustee McCaughey,
aye,
and Trustee Carrion,
Aye.
and Trustee Meyer, aye. Okay, we have a new board president and new board vice president. At this time, we'll take a 5-minute break, Dave, or you want 3 minutes to reorganize here?
Do we need a break since we're not moving chairs?
I don't.
You can just pass the proverbial gavel across the Zoom screen.
Okay, I'm throwing it, Joan. Are you catching it?
Okay,
You got it?
I got it.
Okay.
Got
It's
it.
all
Thanks for being
yours.
president, Steve. You did a
Pardon?
great
Yeah.
job. Thanks for
I'm
being
in-
president. You did a great job.
Did a great
Yeah,
job.
This has been a hard year to be president, and I really want to thank you for your leadership this year, Steve. You've done a wonderful job.
Well, I have to say that I have great people with me. So when you have a good team with you, you're able to survive.
Yes, normally we would obviously be in person, and we would now change seats, and there would be a little bit of a break, but we're just going to power on through since we have a lot of folks here joining us tonight, and we have some things we'd like to share with you. So one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the action that we took out of closed session. And I'm going to start with item 2.4.1. The board voted 5-0 with the motion by trustee Miller and seconded by trustee Larson to approve a compromise and release agreement for internal case number SED 105.2021 for the amount not to exceed, I believe that the not to exceed amount was $17,482. In the communication, Ed, you have a different number? Can you correct me if I'm
Yes,
wrong?
President Larson, actually, that number that I sent you is the correct number, 18,982.
That's right. Lawyer fees.
Sorry about that. Let me fix my phone. That wasn't the motion. So we might need to go back into to redo this one in closed at the time. Sorry. There we go. Now it's quiet. That wasn't the motion in closed. So we're going to take that one back at when we adjourn to close, and we'll report out at that time of the revised motion. Then we had some really wonderful things to report out, which includes some appointments. So on 2.1.1, we had a public employee appointment for our coordinator of language acquisition. This was a 5 unanimous vote with trustee Larson making the motion and trustee Makashi seconding to appoint Nancy San Jose Haig to this position. Is she with us tonight, and would she like to say a few words?
I am, and I would like to say a few words. So good evening, I'm Nancy San Jose. Thank you for the time and the opportunity. I'm grateful to be extended the offer for the role of language acquisition coordinator. I have experience not only working as a principal, but at the County Office of Education and district level offices in the capacity of coordinator, always with a focus on and advocacy for multicultural education, biliteracy, English learners, and language acquisition. I am excited to become a part of Pleasanton Unified and take on the role of supporting its English learners, dual immersion students, and all other students seeking to become multiliterate. And I will work in partnership with others to create additional sustainable systems for effective instruction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. One of the other appointments we have tonight is the administrative assistant for business services. And that was also unanimous with trustee Larson making the motion and trustee Miller seconding for Rochelle Mercado. Is she with us this evening?
I am.
Hi, Rochelle.
Hi, thank you. And
Welcome.
thank you for getting my first name correct.
Thanks to Mr. Hernandez for making sure.
Thank you. Yes, Rochelle Mercado. I am actually transitioning from my role as a budget analyst in our fiscal department into this new role as administrative assistant to our assistant superintendent of business services. And I'm very excited to take on this new role, and I've expressed my excitement and enthusiasm to the team. I've had the privilege of working with most of these people already over the last 2 years. So I'm just excited to take our work relationship to the next level and be a part of this team.
Well, we're so glad that we were able to, have a great internal hire for this position. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
To business services. But speaking of business services, so we will be on the personnel doc tonight ratifying the appointment that was made earlier by the superintendent to fill the administrative assistant role recently due to the retirement of Roseanne Pryor. And we would like to formally welcome Lenita Villasenor to that position. And she's already been working so hard to help not just the superintendent and everyone at the district office, but the board. Part of her duty is to help us, and she's been doing a wonderful job. So Lenita, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, President Larson. The last year has been very rewarding working with Ahmad and the business services team and getting to know the PUSD community. I'm looking forward to supporting Dr. Hagland, the Board of Trustees, and excited to continue working and collaborating with the staff. Thank you, Dr. Hagland, for the opportunity to continue serving.
Thank you, Lenita. Again, we're really glad you're here in this position. I did have one other report out from closed. Mr. Hernandez, we had a litigation tort rejection. Was there language that you were going to share with us about that?
There is no language to share. We will be notifying that claim of the action taken in closed session.
Okay, so the board in closed session tonight took action unanimously 5-0 to reject a tort claim for litigation pursuant to section 54956.9. Okay, now we have several items that we heard in closed session, but we will vote in open. These are related to student discipline. So I'd like to see if there's a motion on item 6.2 on our agenda this evening.
I'll move approval of 6.2.
A second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kelly, did I hear you?
Aye.
And Joan, aye. That's fine. Any opposed? The motion carries. The student discipline case number 2019-2020.017 on item 6.3. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval of 2019.2020.017.
I'll second.
Mary Jo? All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.4, student discipline, item 2.3.3 from closed session, case number 2019-2020.020.
I'll move approval of 2019-2020.020.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, motion carries unanimously. That's 5-0. All right, so now we're moving. Somebody's texting me. I hope it's not David.
President Larson, this is Ed DiLazzo.
Yes.
I did not text you. You are correct on the item 2.4.1 on the amount. My apologies. So it was correct as you stated.
All right, thank you for checking. That was my notes as well. So again, to report out on closed session on item 2.4.1 for case number SED 105.20.21. We entered into authorized a settlement agreement in the amount of $17,482. All right. Yes, I know people like the idea of doing a roll call vote in Zoom. I'm hoping we don't always have to do that if there are no nays, but we'll see what we can do. So tonight we have some recognitions. I'm pretty excited to hear some wonderful things about one of our outgoing board members, but I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hagland to start us off.
Thank you very much, Trustee Larson, or excuse me, Board President Larson. It's with great pride that we recognize Trustee Jamie Yee, who has served the Pleasanton community for 12 years on this board and many more as a parent leader and advocate. Jamie has been a strong advocate for increasing physical and mental health services, as well as expanding policy around this vital area. Jamie served as president several times over the years and helped to advocate for Measure I-1, the district's first general bond obligation in nearly 20 years, which will continue to have a positive impact on generations of students as we continue to break ground on new capital improvement projects. Trustee has served multiple terms on the CSB Delegate Assembly, collaborating with board members across the state to advocate for students and for schools. Her service on the school board comes after serving years as an active parent volunteer and advocate for many years, serving as one of the founding members of the Pleasanton PTA Council. Jamie, it's been my pleasure to serve this community alongside you since 2017. I've truly appreciated your ongoing friendship and partnership in the work. I know that we will continue to benefit from your leadership and advocacy in the community. We're pleased to have one of Jamie's colleagues here with us tonight that would like to speak to her services. So I'd like to welcome Mount Diablo Unified Trustee Linda Mayo.
Good evening, everyone. President Larson, Superintendent Haglund, board and audience. I'm Linda Mayo, and like Mrs. Yee, I serve as a trustee in the Mount Diablo School District. I didn't meet Jamie in her role as trustee. I met her as a PTA volunteer and mentor who was passionate about youth, about health, and about the environment. She was a founding member of Alisal Elementary School PTA and graduated to Pleasanton Council PTA and Peralta District, which is all of Alameda County. At the state PTA level, she served from 2007 to 2015 on the Health Commission and was the chairman of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee and the Resolution Committee and other PTA roles. She has also represented PTA on Tom Torlickson's Environmental Blueprint Task Force and EPA's Children's Health Protection Advisory Committee. Jamie is unique in that she has effectively intersected her professional life with her PTA volunteer roles and her role as a trustee. She is extremely adept at connecting different people, agencies, and organizations around a common cause that's beneficial to all. It's because of Jamie that school districts statewide have wellness committees to support students and staff directly and families indirectly. It's because of Jamie that students throughout Alameda County have been trained on hands-on CPR. It's because of Jamie that food allergies and other allergies are addressed with protocols in school classrooms, lunchrooms, and through the use of EpiPens. It's because of Jamie that sun safety and shade in schools is a priority, both in schools and school design. It's because of Jamie that AEDs are placed not only at athletic events and in schools, but throughout our communities. It's because of Jamie that physical activity and nutritious foods are the focus of PTAs and public schools. It's because of Jamie that high school athletes and teens may be tested for undiagnosed heart defects, which can lead to sudden cardiac arrest and death. It's because of Jamie that these initiatives and many more were advanced not only in Pleasanton and Alameda County, but statewide through coordinated advocacy of PTA leaders, health advocates, and trustees. While she did not do this work alone on these initiatives, Jamie deserves much of the credit because of her relentless, infectious passion. I'm proud to have worked by her side as a PTA volunteer and as a trustee. I'm proud to call her friend and recognize her as a role model for us all. Thank you for your service to your community, Jamie, and for your passionate influence throughout the state.
I'd also like to welcome Fremont Unified Trustee Ann Crosby to say a few words.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure how much I can add beyond what Linda so eloquently stated, other than to say what a great pleasure it has been to serve on CSBA's Delegate Assembly with Jamie. She is a friend. She is a true advocate. Fremont Unified has AED machines in our schools because of Jamie's advocacy. whether it's working for student health or whether it's just making sure students have warm coats. This is who Jamie is, that she's willing to put her own time well beyond what is expected of a trustee to advocate insistently, persistently, and compassionately for the children of the state of California. Having been involved in the California School Boards Association's delegate assembly, we've had long conversations about what needs to happen legislatively, because the new trustees will soon find so many things that we face as school board trustees are not solved at the board meeting. They are things that have to be addressed at the state level in Sacramento. And that's where Jamie and I spent many hours discussing what needed to happen, who we needed to talk to in the halls at the Capitol, making sure that our legislators knew we were not going away. And I don't anticipate that Jamie will be going away, even though she will no longer be serving on your board. This is in her heart to look out for the children of our state. And I look forward to continuing this very, very important work with this dear friend. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure we have board members that would like to say something as well.
Maybe I'll open up, Dave. When I first became a board trustee, Jamie kind of took me under her wing and gave me a lot of valuable advice, a lot of direction, and I'm forever indebted to her for that. But the thing that impressed me the most about Jamie was her relentless passion for the underserved and for the students that are at risk. And she never stopped advocating for them. So I will always remember that. And also I fondly bid her goodbye, but I know that we'll see her around.
Can go next. Hey, Jamie. I've known you for the last 6 years, obviously, and I think we've grown to be good friends. And my respect for you has only grown over time. The word I had used to describe you on our board is actually invaluable. I think Linda Mayo and Ann Crosby and Steve said very well. The perspective you bring around our most at-risk students is just invaluable, and you are their voice. You are the one. You're always challenging us to do the right thing, to really come up with constructive approaches to dealing with their unique situations, and you always give them the benefit of the doubt. It's very inspirational. I think your work in the everybody in state government, it seems like, and you do not hesitate to give them the earful about what they need to do to help our students. And so that is invaluable. And then, last but not least, I think you were always very much strongly advocating for accountability of the district. Your standards of our employees and the students and everybody in the district are so high, and that's great because people usually rise to meet those standards. And so I really appreciate that. And so I would be remiss if I did not echo your mantra, that is, education should be irresistible. And I think that's exactly right. So thank you, Jamie. I know we'll see you around.
We had a few more people join. Did they want to speak? I see Amy Miller here tonight. Amy, would you like to speak?
I would love to speak. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here for Jamie. I did write a few words because I didn't want to forget anything. So I'm gonna, you see me looking away, I'm just looking at my screen. So Jamie, we met way back when in 2011-ish, when we started serving on the ROP board together, and I was a brand new trustee and you were kind of new, maybe 2 or 3 years in. And what happened during that time is we really learned to rely on each other, and we built this amazing trust and this amazing bond. And we really learned how to encourage each other's strengths to get us through what was a difficult time, but what turned out to be really great. In fact, I think it was your idea to bring in Julie Duncan, which what a win was that. Then we served together in delegate assembly for, I don't know, 6 or 8 years or something like that. And that experience for me was also made better because of you and Anne, who I see here too. It was just a great group of regional representatives. And what I really loved about you was how serious you took that job and that role. And it was great being able to bounce things off of each other and really talk about the issues. And then what was even greater was the collaboration piece. We'd go to dinner with all of our regional partners and really get to know other trustees and build those relationships. I've learned so much from you, just so much from you. And I've just valued the years that we've spent supporting each other. I tried to come up with a list of 5 words that I feel describe you as a trustee, but I kind of failed and I came up with 8. So I'm going to share all 8. I really thought about this and I was trying to be succinct. And so these are the words I really feel best describe you as a trustee: diligent and prepared, intelligent and thoughtful, transparent and courageous, honest and authentic. I've always respected your ability to diplomatically ask the hard questions. And I really respected the fact that none of your decisions were ever politically motivated. Most importantly, you never lost sight of who you served. The students were always the priority whenever you voted. I know this isn't the end you envisioned for yourself, but my friend, you can walk away knowing you made an enormous difference in the lives of students, teachers, staff, community members, and the Pleasanton Unified School District. You served with integrity, passion, and heart, and most definitely left this place better than you found it. Tonight was both of our last nights serving our community in this way, and the bond that we developed as elected officials is strong, but our bond of friendship is even stronger. I know you'll continue to excel in whatever you choose to do next because you have so much to give in expertise and experience. I thank you for your service, and I thank you for your support and friendship over the last 9 years. And one last thought, I implore you to fill all this newfound time with something that brings you joy. Congrats on a remarkable and impressive career as a PUSD board member.
Thank you.
It's really hard to follow all of that, Jamie, but you know, when we talked in August, and I couldn't imagine, as much as, you know, I'm happy to see Kelly and Mary Jo as well, I couldn't imagine continuing to serve without you. These last few years have just been amazing. Our team has just been phenomenal together. And I think back, I mean, I've known you over 15 years, and I think back to the passion that you consistently shown. Our district has school nurses because of you. Our district, you know, PTA passed indoor air quality resolutions because of you. Some of our, you know, Mark mentioned the word irresistible in our strategic plan and our mission. That's because of you. Your ability to thinking outside the box is such a cliche, but to call out like, well, the why nots. Well, why can't we do that? Why is that a problem? Shouldn't we be able to do this? Well, what if we try that? You know, have we asked them whether or not they would try that? Have we asked them if they can do that? You know, you've always been able to kind of cut to that. Our district is starting to explore and implement restorative justice because of you. So the care that you exhibit for students, their mental health, their physical health, you know, runs through everything that you're doing. And I've learned so much from you. And I regret that you're not going to continue to serve on this board, but like Linda and Anne and Amy have said, you will find other ways to put your passion to use in ways that I know will serve our students in California. So I just want to say thank you.
Amy, I just wanted to say that I know that we crossed paths just recently, but you have provided so much insight in terms of, you know, your expertise. You are giving some big shoes to fill. But I know we've had some conversations and about the Tri-Valley Democratic Club, and I know you're going to be leveraging your experience and expertise in many different ways, and just you are definitely provided a lot of dedication, many years to the students here in PUSD.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Mary Jo?
So Jamie, I just want to say thank you. I know you've been at ALISAL. I remember you helping out in ALISAL way back when. And I just want to say thank you for putting your heart and soul into your job as a trustee. We appreciate all your heartfelt work and your time and your effort and your energy.
So Jamie, now it's your turn. Would you like to say something?
Really? Well, you guys, this was awesome. You know, trustees are the best people. I don't know that I can do this. It's just been great. It's been a great experience to be a trustee. There's just no other experience like it. And I feel so fortunate to be able to have done everything that I've done. And I couldn't have done it without all of you. And I really am feeling very happy that it was this past board that finally put together the most amazing, high-functioning team I think our district has had in 25 years. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do next. And I feel good that I'm leaving it all in good hands. So thank you for all of your good wishes.
So as a token of our gratitude, we presented Jamie with an engraved clock and some pretty flowers, as well as a number of certificates and proclamations from our elected officials. I believe Tammy was able to get those to you this afternoon, right, Jamie? Good deal. So thank you, Tammy, for running those over to Jamie's house. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Jamie, for your service to our students and families. PUSD is a better place because of your work to ensure that our students would become resourceful, resilient, responsible, and engaged world citizens. That work is partially your fault, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
A round of Zoom applause.
Don't be offended, but I'm not going to watch the meeting.
We'll send you a copy every month.
You guys.
Enjoy. Talk to you soon. All right, President Larson, back to you.
I believe you're still on. We have recognitions for child nutrition services classified staff.
Right. I got so emotional there in that little meeting, I forgot my agenda. Hold on. Next we have, I'm going to introduce Ahmad Sheikh Salami, who's going to take care of the recognition related to our child nutrition services staff.
Thank you, David. Good evening to our board members, new board president, cabinet, and community. I have the pleasure to pass it on to our Director of Child Nutritional Services, Mary Fell. Mary, would you want to take this one?
Thank you. Good evening, Board President Larson. Congratulations, and to Kelly and to Mary Jo, Dr. Haglund, and Executive Cabinet. Tonight, I want to take this opportunity to thank each one of you for recognizing the child nutrition staff. As you know, rain or shine, since March 16th, the team has been out serving meals to anyone under the age of 18 through the federally funded Summer Seamless option. Although we would like to be able to recognize each individual, we were not able to do that tonight. But we have chosen to recognize 4 individuals who have actually stepped up to the plate when we needed them. They truly believe they are essential workers and are here to continue to serve our children in this community. Tonight, Kelsey will be able to share a few more words about our team, and our 4 individuals that are being recognized are Zari, Sandra, Jamie, and Jenny.
Thanks, Mary. I'm going to speak a little bit about our whole team and then speak about the ones with us tonight. So it's an honor to speak about such a dedicated, hardworking, and kind team. As Mary mentioned, it's hard to believe that our team has showed up with some trepidation, but so much heart since the first day of school closures, ready to feed the students in the midst of the pandemic. It's humbling to lead a team that just keeps showing up in such a thoughtful way. COVID has been challenging. We have seen our team rise to the occasion to serve our community. We have watched our team band together with little complaint. They have faithfully showed up, committed to serve students. As we started free meal distribution, we set the intention as a team that even though meals may be free this year, our goal was to offer exceptional customer service and a hot meal every day that really nourished the kids in this community. It's with a full heart that I share that our team has brought this to fruition. I wanted just to share just a few ways that they've done that. One day at curbside, I struggled to find the right words to explain to a grandfather that he could pick up meals for all the children in his home, not just those that attend PUSD. One member of the team rushed over to help. Fluent in both English and Mandarin, she translated until furrowed brows turned into nods and mass smiles of appreciation. Daily, our team members, many bilingual, connect with our families curbside in English, Spanish, Mandarin, and Cantonese. Lately, we've seen an increase in participation from our secondary students, noticing that a few more have been driving through and walking up to pick up lunch. One mom shared that her extroverted son was feeling isolated, being stuck at home. Picking up lunch became the one occasion to leave the house. For him, just having the lunch team say, "Hi, we're happy to see you today," was enough to give that little bit of social that he needed. She just wanted me to understand that the food is great, but how kind our team is really what makes a difference for her family. These are just a few stories of the meals that make a difference for the children in our community as families are struggling financially. We in CNS feel privileged to be making a difference in this challenging time. We wanted to recognize that our entire team has been committed to be curbside and serve despite COVID. The reason why we invited these 4 team members to be with us tonight, as Mary mentioned, Jamie Neo, Jenny Wong, Zari Javahiri, and Sandra Gonzalez, is that in a normal school year, we would be closed for spring break, summer break, Thanksgiving break, and Christmas break because it's all time off for our team. This year, we've had the opportunity to offer our families just a little bit more. But to do this, we need CNS staff who's willing to work even more. These 4 team members with us tonight have signed up with jubilance to work every single school break. They have made serving during our school breaks possible, and they've been leaders on our team. I just wanted to thank them and invite them to share a few words if they'd like to, and I'm going to start with Jamie.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jamie, and I just wanted to say that I've had the privilege to work with these amazing ladies for the past year. And we just want to say that we are super grateful and appreciate the recognition that we have been getting, not only for ourselves, but for our entire CNS department. And we will continue with joy and delight to serve the kids here in Pleasanton every single day. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. And Jenny, did you want to say anything?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm just happy to serve the kid. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. And then Zari.
Hello, hello everyone. I am happy to see my work and efforts recognized by the board. Thank you for your support and leadership. I would also like to take this moment to extend these thanks to my peers in child nutrition. Serving this community has never been more important during these trying times. It is important for us to continue our work in service to the student as they are our future. Thank you all.
Thanks, Zari. And then our last one, Sandra, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I want to say thank you very much. And I feel very grateful that I have a job during this pandemic. And I love my job. I love working with kids. And I'm very blessed to work for PUSD and CNS department.
Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you.
Dr. Haglund, that's what we had this evening.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody. And if you would remember, when you talk to your peers at CNS, please express our thanks to them as well. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, now I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Woodward for our recognition of the LPAC testing team.
Thank you, Dr. Haglund, and congratulations, President Larson and Board of Trustees, including new members, Trustees Carrion and McCaughey. And it is my pleasure to be here tonight to recognize our LPAC testers. Under the leadership of Dr. Pam Bandykamp, initial LPAC testing began on July 27th, with in-person held outdoors at Village High School with physical distancing and all health and safety protocols in place. Between that date and today, our LPAC testers have completed 98% of all assessments for students who are identified as potential English language learners, representing 438 students. They've also received training on remote testing protocols and are able to accommodate parents who chose to have their students assessed on remotely, provided that they committed to maintaining testing security. For many of our students, the LPAC testers are the first contact with school that a child encounters, and often children wondered if the LPAC testers were their teacher. They are always flexible and so very gracious in their work and with our students and families and with the work of the Assessment and Accountability Department. In addition, the Assessment Department staff is being recognized tonight for their support to this successful effort. Laura Keller is the Assessment and Accountability Assistant, and the majority of her time is spent on coordinating the testing and managing student score reporting. She also works with our site administrators and English learner liaisons to navigate the summative LPAC testing and reclassification notices. Glenn Galiste is our assessment analyst, and he manages the data and information side of the LPAC testing. He also supports Laura in training and sending notifications to family and school site. Our initial LPAC testers for fall 2020 are, and I'm so very, very pleased to be able to congratulate you this evening with a sincere thank you. Eva Cornwell, Paramita Das, Andrea Grandal, Kelly Heck, Beth Limesand, Rupa Parikh, Jean Pullen, Rosalind Rondash, Latha Shrian, Tracy Staniford, Mario Vicio de Herrera, and Ann Zimmerman. They will all receive a certificate in recognition of their contribution to our students, families, and staff. And this is just an example of what one of the certificates will look like that will be mailed to each of you. And accepting on behalf of the team this evening is Laura Keller. Laura, would you like to say a few words?
Okay, figured out the unmute, thanks. So I'm Laura Keller. I'm the Assessment and Accountability Assistant, and it is my privilege to work with this great group of testers, as well as Dr. Vandekamp and Glenn Galiste. And thank you, Dr. Woodward. So on behalf of this group of testers, I want to thank the board and cabinet for this recognition. I've heard from several today, and I believe Pam has as well, how much this means to them. So thank you for letting me speak on behalf of all of them and thanking you for this special appreciation. And I also want to add my own thanks to this group. I just love this group. I've worked with many of them in the past. I've been an LPAC tester myself in the past. And planning for this summer, as Pam and Glenn know, felt very overwhelming with the COVID restrictions in place. However, this group of testers, they made it happen, and it's just been an amazing experience. It can be a challenge to administer and score a complicated standardized test in a reliable and accurate way, while also being one of the first PUSD employees to welcome new students, TK and kindergarten. These ladies are amazing. We can totally rely on them to administer this test accurately, but they also help our students feel welcomed, supported, and in this case, the parents as well, to feel safe with the testing situation. We had students come looking nervous, and they'd leave smiling, waving, asking if they could stay and work with the teacher a little more. It was a lot of fun. So adding this added challenge this fall, I commend these ladies. They were working at the picnic tables, wearing masks, face shields, tested in the heat, the cold, wind, and sometimes smoke too. They still did an awesome job. So on behalf of Pam and Glenn and myself, I also want to thank them all for their flexibility, adaptability, professionalism, and we couldn't have done it without you. Most importantly, you helped identify our newest students to qualify for the level of English learner support they may need. Thanks a lot. And again, thank you to the board and the cabinet for this honor.
Thank you very much, Laura, and thank you to everybody who helped with our LPAC testing. We do appreciate it very much. All right, President Larson, now it's you.
Now it's back to me.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to continue. We have a couple more items on our annual organizational agenda. 8.1 is our organizational consent agenda. These are regular items like who can sign documents and warrants and things like that for the district. So do I have a motion to approve the organization consent agenda?
You have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
All right, Steve, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mary Jo? All right, I will call roll. Mary Jo?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And I, so that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, so now item 9 on our organization consent, or I mean our organization agenda, is where we kind of divvy up the subcommittee meetings and representation on other bodies that Pleasanton Unified is a member of. So the first one that we need to have a representative, a voting representative sit on and then have an alternate would be the Tri-Valley SELPA, which is the our organization that works with special education throughout. There's 5 school districts in the SELPA. So is there someone who has some interest in that? I've served in that role for like the past 4 years, I think, 3 years. I learned a lot, and that's why I selected that seat. But as serving as president this year, I don't really feel that I I'll have the time to do that. It meets about 4 times a year. Would someone like to volunteer for that?
I'm definitely interested, Joan.
Okay. Is everyone okay with that?
Okay.
All right, Kelly, is there an alternate? I can be the alternate if nobody else wants to do that. And again, if someone is the alternate, typically you're not attending every meeting. You would be called by the member if they cannot attend a meeting, and then hopefully you would be available and you'd be able to attend whatever meeting that you're the alternate for. Right, the next one is the Tri-Valley Regional Occupation Program, and that's a joint powers board. We're actually a JPA, so you would be a member of that governing board with Superintendent Julie Duncan.
So Joan, they've asked to try to retain the same board members for another year, and I think we typically make this a 2-year thing anyway. So I'm happy to continue on in that role unless somebody else wants to do it.
All right, Mark, and do we have, Valerie was the alternate last year. Do we have somebody who'd like to serve as the alternate? Don't be shy. I might call on you.
This one needs an alternate because
Yeah.
if I can't be there, they need a voting member.
Steve?
I can
Kelly, you want to be the?
Well, no, I did. I mean, if no one else wanted it, but if someone else wants it, they can take dabs at it too.
All right, Kelly is it. You see, I'm just like going to start calling on you pretty soon here.
This is going very well.
All right. The Alameda County School Boards Association. This is a body that is, kind of like a mini CSBA for Alameda County. It waxes and wanes in terms of activity level. Some is of course dependent upon who the sitting board members are in the county that, you know, are kind of driving the efforts. I haven't served in that capacity in a number of years. And in fact, we haven't had anybody regularly attend for probably the last 4 years. But this is a really good way for new board members to kind of meet other board members in Alameda County, establish some of those relationships. So, you know, I would, you know, if they don't meet all the time, I think, you know, typically it's, when they were pretty active, it was like every month, but I know they're not meeting every month now. It's like once a quarter or so, if that. Would one of you like to, Kelly or Mary Jo, would one of you like to serve on that body? Or we don't have anyone again?
Maybe we can revisit it. That there's a couple others.
Yeah.
See how
Okay,
they
we'll
pan
come
out.
back. We'll come back.
Yeah.
All right, city liaison, we need 2 members and an alternate.
I want that one.
I would like it too.
Steve and Mary Jo, is that okay
Yep.
with everybody? All right, and alternate.
I can stay on as alternate.
All right, Mark. Now this one's kind of sad. Because Jamie has served as our member representative on the city's Economic Vitality Committee, I want to say for the last 6 years. I did it before that. Typically they meet, unless things have changed, they meet in the morning. I don't know that it's every month, but basically you're meeting with city leaders and business leaders working on economic issues that affect the city, and you would be the education representative to this body. Anyone interested? In the past, we've also had staff members who have filled this role when there hasn't been a school board member that was available.
I would consider it. No one else wants it. I think it's definitely a good way to get involved with the community and the economic issues.
I can be an alternate.
Okay, it's also nice since you're not on the city liaison. So it's another way to build those relationships with the city. So thank you, Mary Jo and Kelly. Audit subcommittee, we need 2 members and an alternate.
I could do that again if no one wants to, Joe.
As can I.
All right, Stephen, Mark.
You skipped the Tri-Valley Education Coalition on my notes.
Oh, sorry, I'm going off mine. Apologize. All right, I'll come back to the audit subcommittee, although I made the note. So the TAC is the Tri-Valley Education Coalition, and Valerie's done that for a number of years. So Dr. Haglund, is it a monthly meeting?
They have convenings, and so you don't have to go to all of them, but quarterly the group gets together, and then there are other sessions that they do between that. It's a great opportunity to get to know other leaders amongst the various cities in the Tri-Valley.
I'm not hearing anything.
Is it once a month? You said, I'm just trying to.
It's a daytime meeting as well, though. That's the other.
Could be once a month, but Dave said it could be like once a quarter.
Well, I could do that. I don't know.
I can alternate.
Okay.
All right. Mary Jo with alternate of Kelly.
I think Mary Jo lead up and I'm alternate, right?
Right.
Yes.
Oh,
that's what I heard.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misheard.
That's okay. Thank you for asking. All right. The back now to the audit committee. So I had noted that Steve and Mark wanted to remain on the audit subcommittee. Do we have an alternate? I could be the alternate. All right. The board budget subcommittee, we need 2 people. We haven't actually had an alternate on that before, I don't think, but I think it's a good idea to do that. I would like to remain on the budget subcommittee if that's acceptable to the group.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
Mark, do you want to break from that or do you still want to stay on it?
I'm happy to stay on it, but if somebody else wants to do it, I'm happy to.
You could do it. I'll be an alternate.
Well, who wants to do the board facilities subcommittee?
I do. I want to do that.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Mary Jo, I got to write my notes. Okay.
I didn't know.
Well, it's because I would do that if somebody wanted to do the budget one or vice versa. So.
All right. So now we're on to facilities. So Steve still sets
Yes.
facilities.
It's a great meeting. Meets a lot, but it's good.
And Mark would rather do that than the budget?
No, I'm good either one. If somebody wanted to do the budget and then I could do that one, but yeah, not both.
I could put a plug in for facilities. It is really exciting because right now with all the projects going on and it's updates, it's
You could do that. I'll do that.
Okay, so Steve and Mary Jo, I think we should have an alternate for that as well. Mark, how about that?
Sounds good.
Okay. And then, okay, so that was facilities, policy subcommittee. I would like to remain on that.
I would like to do that. I have never done it.
Steve?
Oh, okay. Can you have two alternates? I was
Yeah,
really
we have
interested in
two
that one too.
Well, you know, sometimes it comes down to like, okay, who's doesn't have a meeting that they can attend this meeting. But let's see. If we have,
You could share it, could you?
I'm definitely interested. I definitely would be interested.
Mary Jo, how about if we have Kelly be the official alternate, and then if she's got trouble, if we can't meet, then, you know.
Sure.
We can give you a call. All right, and last but not least, this is a new, you may or may not be aware of the history of this. This is so I have served on the PPIE board as a community member, not an official school board member for the past, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. And I've actually convinced them to convert to have a liaison position from the school board. And I've resigned from the PPIE board. So what they're looking for, and they do meet monthly, and you would be representing the school district, representing the school board. It's a non-voting position on the PPIE board itself, but it's a liaison position. So you're sharing information about what's going on in the school district, how that can, how the things that PPIE is considering will help the school district. So it's just a liaison position, but I personally think it's very wonderful and a good way for us to coordinate. So this is not actually, the agenda says that it's 2 members. It's really 1 member and an alternate based on the bylaws of PPIE. So who would like to be the PPIE liaison?
So I can either do it or be an alternate.
Okay, Mary Jo.
Mary Jo, you take the lead. I'd be more than happy to be an alternate.
Okay.
Is that okay with everybody else? Okay. So the last but not least, we can come back to the Alameda County School Boards Association.
Can we rotate it?
Last year, I think you just put all, so
We
everyone
did.
was on it. And whoever wanted to go could go.
That sounds good.
Okay, which we can do that, but I'll tell you that meant no one went. So let's try. Maybe what we can do is when they announce a meeting and they're going to have a speaker, we can talk about it at our board meeting and see if we can't get some representation there. Again, for you, the 2 new board members, you know, CSBA is a really kind of long in between time, and it would be really a good way for you to get to know other board members in the county. So,
We just volunteered for a bunch of committees, so we'll have to alternate it around.
I know.
So
But-
Lenita,
so we'll
did you
say-
write it down?
we'll say all, and then we'll see who can go when the meetings are announced.
And they don't have that many meetings, right?
They don't have that many meetings. All right, I believe that takes care of all of the assignments. Lenita, did I miss anything?
Nope, I think we're good. I will type this up and send this to you to double check.
Okay, that would be great. All right, so that concludes.
Are you going to send us a list, Lenita, of everybody's name on it so we know for sure?
Yes.
All of it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, were there any other questions about that? All right, so that concludes our annual organization meeting that I'm adjourning that meeting at 8:06. And we are now opening the regular meeting of the December 15th Pleasanton Unified School District Board meeting. And at this time, we would hear from our employee associations. And I know I saw both of them on the call already. The Association of Pleasanton Teachers President Michelle Verkeilen, are you available?
I am.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, President Larson, members of the board, Dr. Haglund, members of the cabinet, and our community. I am Michelle Verkeilen, President of the Association of Pleasanton Teachers. First of all, I would like to thank Jamie Yee for her many years as a board member. It's not an easy position, and APT appreciates her years of dedication and the knowledge, connections, and experience she brought to the job. I hope that she will stay involved in other ways. I would also like to send out APT's appreciations to Valerie Arkin. I did not speak at the last board meeting, so was unable to publicly offer her congratulations on her new city council position and express APT's gratitude for the years of service she dedicated to our school community. Secondly, I want to offer a very warm and hearty welcome to our newest board members, Kelly McCaughey and Mary Jo Carrion. Thank you so much for taking on this position in such a fragile and challenging time. Our students, our staff need people in our leadership positions that will champion their needs and guide our district in prioritizing supports closest to our classrooms. APT looks forward in working with you to make this happen. And so we come to an end of 2020. I'm sure no one would have ever thought we would be navigating a pandemic. It is almost going on a year that our world has been in this public health crisis. I know people have never had to make so many changes and so many decisions that had to be continually changed. This has been hard. This has been hard for everyone, and it is not over. Mercifully, the rollout of the vaccine has begun. We know that full distribution will take time, but it brings us hope. The Association of Pleasanton Teachers holds in our hearts and thoughts all who have been adversely affected by this pandemic. Those who have taken ill, those with family members and friends who have been ill or lost their lives, those who have lost their livelihoods. Let's please remember to support each other, whether near or far, because these times are difficult for everyone right now. Our district has made plans, and what we have learned as we move forward toward implementation of those plans is that we need more plans. The state and the county offer guidance, but that guidance needs concrete materialization, which requires planning on top of planning. As soon as we delve into one area, we realize how much more fleshing out it needs in order to provide consistent, safe implementation throughout our district. Pleasanton Unified District has always prided itself on its high standards for our students. Now, more than ever, we need to ensure high standards in the area of health and safety. If county guidance says 4 to 6 feet, we need to implement 6 feet. If there is a recommendation for an additional protection, we need to secure it. We cannot falter because something is problematic to figure out. We must find solutions to offer the layers of protection that will keep all our students, all our staff, and by extension, all our community safe. Unfortunately, we have seen what happens when some do not follow the recommendations. Cases rise, spread increases, and the domino effect of a single case can lead to lives lost. This is not acceptable when we can do something about it. I appreciate those in our community who have included me in their communication to the board and district leaders. APT appreciates your sentiments to continue with implementations of the pieces of planning so that when we were out of the purple and red tiers and heading back into orange, we can serve our students in person with as safe of conditions that can be provided. Please continue to communicate and ask that safety protocols are of the highest measure and implemented clearly, equitably, and consistently within and across school and district sites. Our school safety measures must be fully ready to go on that first day back. APT advocates for and supports following the most protective of guidelines. As we have said before, our teachers and counselors and social workers, teacher librarians, clinicians, behaviorists, and specialists, we all so sorely miss being in person with our students. And we look towards opening when we have a negotiated agreement and it is safe to do so. We want to be able to ensure that once we are open, we can stay open. That lack of consistency or clarity in protocols and procedures does not lead to cases and school closures. That would not only be detrimental to all's health, but also to the education we provide our students. Pleasanton students deserve the best, and providing them with a safe and healthy learning environment is the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Now I'd like to call on Laura Martinez, President of the California School Employees Association.
So good evening, President Lawson, Board of Trustees, and welcome to our newest members, board members, Mary Jo Carrion and Kelly Mukasha, Dr. Haglin, Cabinet, and members of the community. I also want to take a moment to thank Jamie Yee for all of her years of service and impact and contributions that she made as a Pleasanton School Board trustee over the last 12 years. So first of all, I hope all are well tonight. Our small cohorts, our small group student cohorts have been open for 2 months now. And while we are happy to see some of our students back at school, it hasn't been without challenges. We truly do have an amazing and dedicated classified staff. These incredible professionals are fully committed to working to assist our most vulnerable students, even though it isn't easy. While much of the programs in place are running smoothly, let me tell you about a few of our challenges we face across sites. Some students are finding it difficult to follow the mask wearing protocol, and much time is spent giving reminders to properly wear and keep their mask on. We have some students who don't want to wash their hands. We've had some students arrive to our schools with fevers only to be sent home. PUSC has a long-standing policy not to send students to school with a fever. This should be strictly followed and enforced, especially during this current pandemic. Additionally, students and staff need to be fever-free for 24 hours without the aid of any fever-reducing medicine before returning to school. These student cohort programs need support from their admin, teachers, and the community to reinforce the importance of following these protocols. We are in a critical time now. COVID-19 is the most widespread and dangerous it's ever been. The importance of staying safe is emphasized each day by health and county officials. Unfortunately, it doesn't resonate equally with everyone. Even our own mayor, Jerry Thorne, states, "We have reached a critical point in the pandemic, and now more than ever, we must each do our part by following the new regional stay-at-home order to slow the spread of the coronavirus and protect our Pleasanton community." I ask you, are you doing your part? I'm gonna say it again. These have not been easy times. During this pandemic, there have been many stressful times for our staff, students, and community. Classified staff has been here providing services throughout PUSD. We show up and make a contribution every day. We do this even though we have concerns regarding safety for ourselves and others. We continue to clean and disinfect our buildings, care for our grounds and buildings, transport students, care for children in the district's child supervision program, Kids Club, Horizon, STEAM preschool, and our small cohorts. We do assessments, feed students and families within the community, process invoices, pay our bills and employees, keep up with the demand on technology infrastructure to ensure it stays up and running. We provide and help families with their Chromebooks, textbooks, and other materials as needed, and so much more, all while we use PPE and follow the physical distancing, sanitation, and other safety protocols so that we can be at work safely. Our staff working in distance learning continue to support administrators, certificated staff, students, and the community to keep students on track. We continue to shift and do our best to meet the needs of students and certificated staff. It will take all of us making a concerted effort through our combined planning, collaboration, implementation, compliance, and following of protocols to create a safe path towards reopening the schools when the time is to reopen is safe. We continue to look ahead at what it will take to reopen schools and make sure we are ready, not just for a couple of hundred students, but for thousands of students. The district mitigation team evaluates which plans are in place. While some of the implementation of those plans is well underway, many sites have put their reopening framework together and have laid down the foundation, but there is still a ways to go. We need each site to be equally prepared to safely bring students and all staff back to school. Let me be clear, we have done a lot of work, but have more to do to be ready. When is the best reopening target date, especially as we head into winter break? Will people make the choice to gather or travel despite recent county and state advisories? We've recently seen the impact of the travel and gathering which occurred over the Thanksgiving break, and the results seem to show that coronavirus numbers at an all-time high. Let's look at a safe return date for our elementary students. Let's work together on what reopening date makes the safest and most sense for our students, staff, and community. While we plan for reopening, we must remain diligent and continue to get our sites ready. The SCA negotiated and ratified our MOU for reopening back on September 10th. There are protocols yet to be implemented, staff and community training yet to be done, work yet to be finished to figure out the logistics of our classroom spaces to be physically distanced. And we need to figure out our staffing needs to maintain these protocols. We are currently figuring out contact tracing and notification procedures as we experience our own positive COVID-19 cases. We are running a pilot COVID-19 testing program for employees. We are on the path to getting ready, but we aren't there yet. The community needs to be a partner too and get ready to ensure a safe return to school. Parents and families, are you preparing your children for when they return so they'll be able to follow the mask protocol? Are they wearing their mask now for the length of time that they will need to wear masks when they are back in school? Now would be a good time to practice mask wearing by the children so they won't lose precious instructional minutes because staff have to take time out to remind them to properly wear their mask or keep it on. Have children learned all the steps to properly wash their hands, and have you helped them understand the importance of this hygiene practice? Are families familiar with and ready to complete the daily health screener form? Are you ready to take your child's temperature daily and keep them home if they have a fever or symptoms? Our classified staff continues to support administrators, certificated staff, students, and the community. We continue to work side by side to come up with solutions with our certificated staff on the best and safest way to educate students in Pleasanton. We are linked together by a common goal as we work together to give our students the best education possible. We each have to do our part. We need to stay the course and continue to do so with the best intentions. Stress is at an all-time high, so practice good self-care. Let's be kind, lift each other up, support one another, and remember, Together, we are stronger and better. So let's keep working and get it done. So on a personal note, my term as president of CSCA Chapter 155 comes to an end the 31st of this month. And I would have run again, but my family needs me. And so due to personal reasons, I will be stepping away from my role as president. For over 2 years, I have done my best to take care of classified staff and what has become my CSCA family. While I never imagined being the president of this chapter, once I stepped into the role, I put my best foot forward. I put in the work to listen to the needs of classified staff, to improve communication. I built relationships with leadership and the district. I've tried to be a strong voice on behalf of classified employees in regards to work conditions, wages, job descriptions, safety, discipline, or unfair treatment. I've led negotiations, sat on committees, attended more meetings than I could have ever imagined, and tried to address our many concerns. I've done this with heart, respect, truth, transparency, and always with all classified members in mind. May you all have a restful, joyous, and safe holiday. Thank you and good evening.
Well, that's not happy news, Laura. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, I've been in this district for a long time, and I've worked with a number of different union presidents of their chapters. And I echo your sentiments about how you've conducted yourself and you've represented your members and established relationships with not just staff, but with board members. So I want to thank you for your service in that role in this really scary and crucial time. You know, you have been a voice that raised concerns and raised issues, but in a way that was designed to communicate the content without a lot of rhetoric. And I, for one, have appreciated that greatly. So you will be missed. And I also wish you a happy holiday.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Okay, now is the time in our meeting where we have public comment for items that are not on our agenda. So the public has had an opportunity through to submit questions in advance. Due to the governor's executive order and COVID-19, there have been some relaxations of the Brown Act and the way we conduct public meetings, as evidenced by this meeting on Zoom. So we are limiting public comment to 2 minutes per speaker. And I'm not sure whether our TV 30 rules are still applying tonight, but typically we're doing audio only for these comments. Mr. Gannon, do we have public comment for items not on our agenda tonight?
Yes, President Larson, we do have a few public comments, and if it's all right with you, and because I know that while Jamie's logged off, I know that it's not as hard to tune out of these wonderful board meetings. I would like to start with Jeannie LaMarche. And I'm going to, all right.
Are you bringing her into the meeting, or are we waiting?
We are. She's in. It looks like she might be muted. So Jeannie, if you're on with us, just click the unmute button. We've given you permission to. We've given you the ability to speak.
All right, so while Jeannie is working on getting her volume adjusted, can we move on to the next speaker?
Yes, President Larson. Our next speaker is Janelle Sloan.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Oh, great. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk tonight. I have 3 areas I'd like to comment on with regard to remote learning. First, I'd like to talk about grades, objective and subjective implications. We need to distribute to all parents an analysis of students' grades in 2019 versus 2020, broken down by grade level and school location. We need to set expectations which really match what students ages 14 through 18 are able to achieve. And I'm actually talking mostly about high school. High school students can't learn concepts in a speed class on Monday and then not have class again until Thursday. Even college classes are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday. But a larger concern is the subjective implication of grades. How students feel about their accomplishments at this time can affect how they feel about school, learning, and most importantly, themselves. Please try to imagine the stress of self-teaching, being held to unattainable standards, and then receiving failing grades. How would that make you feel? And then imagine that in isolation, day in and day out as a 14-year-old. Secondly, cheating must be addressed. Yes, there's always been cheating, but let's think about it. It was limited to what could be remembered and passed on during passing periods. Now screenshots of entire tests can be passed on quickly and seamlessly. I know teachers are asking students not to do this. Some ideas are to have weighted homework and projects higher than tests, or to have tests be take home. And I apologize, I just left my other notes over here. And I'm just going to do this from memory. We just can't punish integrity. And finally, I'd like to talk about the school day. It's very important that our students have shorter school days and more frequently. They can't do 70-minute classes. How can you do an hour and 10-minute conference call and then ramp it up to another conference call 10 minutes later? Please consider these things when readdressing remote learning, because it really feels like we're going to be in this for the rest of the year. And we need to really think about changing our expectations for our students, for their academics and their mental health and well-being. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Sloan. All right, Patrick, is Jeannie ready?
I'm going to ask her to unmute. She is in the meeting. I was just emailing with her. Let me try something.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, yay. Okay, I'm hoping Jamie's here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and members of the board. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Jeannie LaMarche, and I teach the Peer Advocate Emotional Intelligence Program class at Foothill High School. And I would like personally to thank and recognize Jamie Yee for her unwavering commitment and dedication to the Pleasanton Unified Board, students, staff, and my program. For the past 10 years, she has believed in me, the program, and wanted to see it expand and grow within the district. I hope to see your vision, Jamie, of the Peer Advocate Emotional Intelligence class grow district-wide. Many times, Jamie took her own time to meet the peer advocates and see the Peer Advocate school-wide emotional intelligence presentations. Several times, she also cared enough to call to check in with me and hear more about the Peer Advocate Emotional Intelligence Program. I will always be grateful for her commitment to better our school district in so many ways, and especially for recognizing how important it is to harness in the Pleasanton Unified School District the power of the brain, emotional intelligence, and the heart. Thank you, Jamie. You are very, very much appreciated and will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie, for those kind words. If Jamie had signed off, we'll make sure she gets the video so she can watch.
Thank
Patrick,
you.
is there anyone else?
All right, President Larson. Next we have Steve McCoy Thompson, and then we will have Megan Sloan close us out. So Steve.
Great. Thanks very much, Patrick. Thank you to President Larson, Superintendent Haglund, members of the board, and the cabinet, and everybody watching. Just want to also give a special thanks to Jamie for incredible passion and her service. And I want to welcome the new trustees, Kelly Makashi and Mary Jo Carrion. Welcome to the family. I want to give a special shout out to Joan Larson for serving on the PPIE board for many years. In many cases, the success that PPIE has had is due to the foundation that, Joan, that you created. So very much appreciated, and want to welcome Mary Jo and Kelly to the PPIE board. We have a dynamic board. I think we're doing a lot of good work, and so that you have a glimpse of what's in store. Last year, we gave about $725,000 to the school district to pay for supplemental staff in a broad range of areas, including wellness and intervention specialists and tech support and librarians and counselors and other programs. And we're also taking on some new initiatives as everybody's pivoting. We've pivoted our fall events. We're going to be doing a race for education, a virtual race, April 11th through the 18th. We're going to be having our second annual State of the School District lunch in January. You're all invited to that. Superintendent Haglund will give an address. And we're taking on some new initiatives where we're focusing on student wellness and trying to be more proactive and listening to parent questions and working with our student assistance program specialist, Monica Wharton, to provide answers to them, posting those. And we're doing a lot of work providing liaisons between our business partners and the classroom, and having them lead and serve as speakers for clubs that we have. So it's really exciting, and we look forward to having you on board our board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Megan?
Megan, go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, Dr. Haglund, board members, trustees, and members of the audience. My name is Megan Sloan, and I'm a senior at Amador and current ASB president. Last year, I served as the Amador student representative on the board. I trust that the board is listening to the community with an open mind from all sides and all perspectives. And I trust that next semester, students, teachers, and parents will see the changes in reaction to the feedback and data being gathered. As these action-oriented conversations happen tonight and in the future, I'd like to mention something softer that myself and other students in the Student Interschool Action Council have noticed. Across the community, everyone's struggling. To which extent depends on too many factors to list, but we all understand the inequity that is created without the great equalizer, the classroom. I commend the district on their efforts in remedying the physical roadblocks to learning, but hope to see improvement in the emotional and mental areas. Encouraging empathy is something that we can all do at all levels, especially now that daily interactions are so limited and memorable. To the board and teachers, you set the tone from the top, and it trickles down to students and families. Students understand how hard teachers and staff are working, but the disconnect is where all their efforts are being focused. Last year, Mr. Butterfield, the principal at Amador, was describing to me the importance of students knowing that they are valued members of the classroom. The beauty of empathy is that it's not a giant strain on resources or time. Reaching students through empathy and kindness looks like asking them how their day is as class starts, or sending an end of semester "we made it" email. Some 70-minute class periods are happening without a single student speaking. Now, there are obviously some larger scale actions that could be taken so students can see teachers every day and have the time to personally interact, but all those ideas come from the basis that students need relationships with their teachers to be successful in and outside the classroom. The vision of PUSD is that every student will be a resourceful, responsible, resilient, and engaged world citizen. But the key word is will be. We're not there yet, and we still need the emotional and holistic guidance of adults that teach us much more than curriculum. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And that was the last speaker tonight? Okay, great. Thank you all for your comments. Now we will move on to item 14, our student board member report. And tonight we're pleased to have Brian Glasgow from Village High School. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, President Larson. Hello, my name is Brian Glasgow and I'm a senior at Village High School. Since the last board meeting, we have settled into our distance learning routine and continue to have advisory 3 times a week. During our advisory, we have worked on how to stay organized with digital schedules, and we have looked at our transcripts to make sure that we are on track to graduate after we received our first quarter grades. Students worked with their advisory teachers to write a letter home to their parents/guardians to let them know about their progress in their classes. Wednesdays are work times for students who don't have the time out of school hours, where we catch up on any of our missing assignments and go to teachers for extra help and support. In culinary, we are learning how to prepare pasta. In Farm to Fork, we are looking at sustainable farming to help with keeping resources at a stable level. In geometry, we have learned reflections, translations, and rotations, and how to measure different angles and rotations of angles. In art, we are learning about the principles of design. Each week we've been looking at a different artist and their different art designs. Afterwards, we are tasked with creating our own art using that same design. In African American literature, we are continuing to learn about the fine line that many of the African American community walks socially through our reading the book Passing, annotating, watching videos, and reflecting on questions about the societal roles that they must navigate. In civics, we are learning about our government and how the branch works, going into depth about the legislative, that's easy for me to say, judicial and executive branch. In US history, we are reading about the Civil War and talking about how different events had effects on us, on the US. In physical science, students spent time working with some 60 years of climate data. Students used Google Sheets to work with some of the raw data that is available on NASA's climate page. They created charts to examine CO2 concentrations and global temperature change over time. In PE, we learned how to do a bicep curl, yoga, and juggling. In econ, we are taking a more life and growing up approach, talking about buying your first car or even renting your own apartment. And for activities, school activities, in advisory, we have spoke about coping mechanisms for dealing with stress during the holidays. Teachers shared a list of 100 things to do when feeling stressed, for example, drawing cartoons or listening to music. And Village has started a new incentive program where students can earn prizes such as Village t-shirts, lanyards, water bottles, treats, and stickers by participating in class, going to study hall on Wednesdays, and students can earn Village bucks by participating in class, earning good grades, and receiving awards at assemblies. Study hall has been moved to just on Wednesdays, which just allows students a quiet space to work and to get teacher support if needed. Each week, the teachers do a rotation on who is hosting the study hall. As Pleasanton Unified is continuing distance learning, leadership is finding more ways to keep students engaged in school spirit and keeping morale high. Some of the ways are through community team building in advisory and by holding Village's annual Thanksgiving feast, virtually, of course. with the whole school and having everyone write on a Padlet what they're most thankful for this year. Village staff and leadership class put together a drive-through feast where they handed out hot chocolate kits and a village recipe book where both students and staff submitted their family holiday recipes and photos. The book has appetizers, entrees, sides, and desserts and drinks. Village held their annual Spirit Week. Each teacher was assigned a Simpson character that represented them, their advisory class, as they competed for the prize of a gift certificate to Porky's Pizza and Village Bucks. Throughout the week, we had events such as a virtual door decoration, a virtual escape room, and pop culture trivia. First, second, and third place earned points, and each day was a dress-up theme, where students could show their school spirit and earn points towards their advisory class and earn a village buck. The dress-up days were Backwards Day, Pink Day, and of course, Halloween. Village leadership is also hosting an Instagram game with different activities each day to count down the days until 2021. If you participate, you can earn a village prize pack. We look forward to having a 2-week break to celebrate the holidays and to get some much needed rest. As rough as this year has been, we at Village have been a tightly woven family who are always there for each other, and we are doing our best to finish this year strong. Thank you for having me.
I'm wondering if you guys are selling the cookbook. That would be really interesting.
We actually probably have some extra copies if you're interested.
I'd be happy to make a donation. Oh, Mr. Gannon has one. Oh.
There we go. Yeah.
If you would, I will trade you a donation for one of those. If you'll have somebody put it in my mailbox for me, that'd be awesome.
We can do that.
Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate that report. You guys sound like you're doing a lot of things to stay motivated and stay on task and just keep on keeping on. That's great. Wow. All right. So top that, Dr. Haglund.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, Brian. So thanks for setting me up, pal. So for our last board meeting of the year, I want to start by expressing my immense gratitude to each member of the POSD community who continues to support our students in various capacities. 2020 has been a year like no other I have ever experienced in my 33 years as an educator. This team has risen to meet each obstacle and overcome the challenges we have faced. And just when we would think we had things in order, the situation would change and the challenges would become more complex. But in each case, the team adapted, dug deeper, and figured it out together. I look forward to welcoming the new year, including the opportunities and challenges that may come before our new Board of Trustees and the team of world-class public servants that I'm fortunate to work with each day. In a few moments, the team will present an update to our school reopening plans. While Alameda and the surrounding counties continue to be under a stay-at-home order and subject to the purple tier restrictions, we continue to move planning efforts forward with positive intention. As we approach the holidays, let's give our students who have yet to have a chance to step foot in a classroom or to meet their teachers without a screen between them, a pathway towards hope. Let's make a pledge to work together to make safe and healthy choices for ourselves and on behalf of one another. Our individual and organizational action should be not guided by fear, nor should they be subject to the assertion of rights by others. We must hold to our sense of community, or we will risk the consequences of the choice to not do so. While the early stages of bringing students back to campus may invoke concerns, the risks of not doing so are equally consequential. We've seen the impact our small cohorts, as well as our sports and music camps, have had on student learning, but also on their mental and physical health. Our students they need to be back in classrooms, and their teachers want for them to be there too, just as soon as we can do so safely. While this holiday season will look different, it will undoubtedly be influenced by how we choose to respond to the challenges. Let's show our students what resilience looks like. Let's demonstrate how the power of collective action can draw folks together when it occurs as an act of community. And in so doing, we will give our students, ourselves, and each other a much needed gift of hope. So please stay well, be safe, and have a happy holiday. President Larson, that's my comments for tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Haglund. Now we're going to move on to item 16, our consent agenda. These are routine items that we typically approve in one vote. However, if there is any public comment to be made on any item, or if a board member wishes to pull an item for discussion, they are free to do so. Mr. Gannon, did we have any public comment on any of the consent items tonight?
Excuse me, President Larson.
Yes.
Am I free to sign out now, or would you like me to
you're
stay?
welcome. You're welcome to stay if you'd like, but yes, your report is done. And if you have homework to do or need to go, that's fine.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
It's been a
Brian.
pleasure.
Yes. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Brian.
Sorry about that. Patrick, did you?
We do not, President Larson.
Are there any items that the board members wish to pull for further discussion tonight? No. All right, then I'll seek a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded by Trustee Miller and Trustee Maher. Trustee Maher, your vote?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Makashi?
Aye.
Carry on?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well, so that's 5-0. So the consent agenda is approved. And now we will move on to our items for discussion and possible action. And the first item is 17.1, report discussion and possible action on opening of school. Dr. Haglund.
Thank you, President Larson. Patrick, if you could drop the presentation, we'll get going.
My pleasure. 1 second.
Here we go. So once again, we're updating our reopening plans. And tonight on the next slide, we're going to provide update on county guidance. We're also going to review the status of our risk mitigation efforts. And we will review academic planning processes as well as consider recommendations from staff. So I wanted to step through kind of the current status of what we know now as of 12/9. So things continue to change, but this report was posted with the agenda on the 9th of December. So at that time, we know that everyone is tired and doing their absolute best. And by that, I mean teachers, students, families, everybody is working incredibly hard at this. We all want to see students return to the campus as soon as possible. But I'll tell you, the level of complexity in this process is staggering as things continue to shift. Our reopening plan was submitted to the board and approved on July 14th. It's also posted on our district website and has been for quite some time. The pre-K-5 reopening documents were submitted to the county on November 5th, following the October 28th board meeting. Those documents also are posted on the front page of the website. Not too long after we posted that plan, the county shifted back to the purple tier, pausing all school reopenings that had not brought students back onto campus as of the day of the shift. and keeping them paused until 2 weeks after the county returns to the red tier. On December 6th, Alameda and other Bay Area counties issued a shelter or stay-at-home order. And that order exists from the 6th through January 4th of 2021. One positive was that we were allowed to continue with our daycare, childcare, and small cohort programs, which includes our camp. So that's kind of that status. And now I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Dialazo to talk a little bit more specifically about the stay-at-home order.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Haglund, President Larson, Board of Trustees, Cabinet, and Community. So I'm going to walk us through the next few slides. So I'm essentially going to highlight and expand a little bit on a few of the key points that Dr. Haglund just reviewed. And specifically, in order to ground our conversation for tonight, I'd like to review some of the current COVID-19 metrics. First, I'll review the state and the regional COVID-19 data and statistics, and then I'll go into a little bit of the Alameda County statistics. And then most importantly, we'll talk about the state's tier system and where we are in that system, along with some key points in the stay-at-home order that has been issued. So on this particular slide, you will see in the blue or the teal, depending on what color it is on your screen, it's teal on mine, the blueprint for a safer economy. If you download this document, you will be able to hit that link and you will get into that document. It's from the state. There's a ton of information in there. There's metrics, there's guidance. For this particular discussion, I did take a snapshot, and Dr. Haglund said this was posted on the 9th. I took the snapshot of the data from December 8th regarding the current tier system in the Bay Area region. So one of the things I want to highlight on this page is the notion of the statewide metrics. And so when the region falls below that 15% intensive care unit bed availability, the state can issue a regional stay-at-home order. So we are in the region called the Bay Area region. There are 11 counties in the region. They're listed there on the left-hand side. And then in that region, the state is measuring the ICU availability. So for the data, if you look at the state ICU availability, it's 11.6. The Bay Area region is a little bit better. It's at 20.9 availability. And again, this is from the 12/8/20 snapshot. I did look at it today, and unfortunately it has gone down at the state level. It is a 5.7% ICU availability rate. And then in the Bay Area region, it is down to 15.8% ICU availability. And again, the trigger is 15% or less. And I know in this region, and specifically in Alameda County, it was triggered even before that 15% because the county health officer was seeing the trend going down really fast and significantly so in just a few days. Next page, Mr. Gannon. Okay, I've reviewed this website before in a previous presentation. I did want to go over some new data. So on this slide, you'll see the Alameda County Public Health Department data on COVID-19. Specifically, it tells us what the current status is for Alameda County for the tier system, and that is the state of California tier system that is assigned to each county, what particular tier the county is in. So here in Alameda County, those numbers before you, I will review. So that snapshot again is from December 9th. On December 9th, there was a 15.7 case rate, and that is the number of individuals who out of 100,000 in Alameda County who are positive for COVID-19. The overall test positivity rate is the percentage of individuals who tested positive out of 100,000 in Alameda County. And again, it's over a 7-day period. I don't think I said that for the first one, but both of these data points are reviewed over a 7-day average. So if you take a look at that, those are the data points for that day, December 9th. I looked at it again today, and unfortunately it has gone up in terms of our cases per day per 100,000, and it's now 19.8 as of today. The positivity rate, overall positivity rate is 6%. So we are trending in that direction, which means that we would stay in that purple tier, at least at this time. And again, this changes every 4 days, I believe, or 7 days. They take the data over that 7-day period, and then they update the data that often. So we check it all the time. So if you ever need to look at it yourself, the website link is there in the teal. Next page, Mr. Gannon. Okay, a little bit of that regional stay-at-home order. So on December 3rd, the state's stay-at-home order was issued, and that is in effect, as Dr. Haglund mentioned, from December 7th to January 4th, 2021. And then on December 6th, Alameda County, the health officer from Alameda County Public Health issued the county health order, and I wanted to review some of the relevant sections from the county health. So in that order, all gatherings with members of other households or living units are prohibited within Alameda County. All non-essential travel within or out of the county of Alameda is also prohibited. Under this order in the state of California, any educational institution that currently provides in-person education may continue to do so. We'll talk a little bit more about that specifically for the county in the next slide, but for the state, so no additional schools may open for in-person instruction under this order. Youth sports, extracurricular activities may continue under those specific guidelines for childcare and extracurricular programs and supervision programs. And again, I'll talk about that in a little bit for the county. And then childcare, preschool facilities may remain open under this order. They did emphasize what we all know, but I will repeat, those social distancing requirements of 6 feet or more social distancing, washing hands, using hand sanitizers frequently, covering coughs and sneezes, wearing a face covering, and then avoiding social interaction if you are ill. Next page, Patrick. Okay, so in Alameda County, the link there on this slide you've seen before. I've posted in other presentations. It is now in version 21.5, and that was updated on December 11th. And as I mentioned, and Dr. Haglund mentioned in previous slides, Alameda County is in the purple tier status. So I took a picture or snapshot of one of the pages in the county guidelines that shows a really simple and easy picture of the purple tier, red tier, orange, and yellow tier activities that are allowed for schools specifically. And so to highlight some of those specific points, schools already open may remain open. Schools not already open may not open under, again, the purple tier. Districts are allowed to submit their reopening plans. And if you recall, and Dr. Haglund mentioned that our reopening plan was submitted to the county on October 16th, 2020, and then it was approved by our board on October 29th, 2020. Schools may not open for in-person instruction until the county is in the red tier. So if you recall in the past, we would stay in a particular tier until we met the criteria to move into the higher tiers of red and orange. I believe we got to orange at one point before we shifted back to purple. Dr. Haglund mentioned a couple of programs that are continuing to be permissible under the purple tier. And I just want to repeat our small cohort supervision programs under the guidance of small cohort guidance from the state and county. They remain open for PUSD. We'll talk a little bit more about those small cohorts when Dr. Woodward presents here in the next couple of slides. Our childcare programs, Kids Club, STEAM, Horizon Infant Care, our student supervision program for staff, students, employees, students of our employees. Those programs have been running and continue to be allowable in the purple tier. And then also our athletic camps and music camps are also allowable under the purple tier. Next page, Patrick. Okay, so we started our COVID-19 employee testing program. I mentioned this in previous presentations that we had a goal of getting a contract approved, providing the opportunity for our staff to have testing for COVID-19. And so we started that pilot program this week, last week actually, and we continued this week. So on November 12th, our Board of Education approved the contract with a company called Curative Incorporated. And then on December 2nd, we received 2,500 test kits from Curative. And that is actually about the number if we were to test all of our full-time employees in the district. That's how many we would need in terms of test kits. And I believe we have about 3,300 total employees when we count the part-timers as well. And Mr. Hernandez can correct me if that's incorrect. And then also on December 2nd, we had an informational meeting with Alameda County Office of Education, who's also using the Curative testing program. And then, like I said, we started our testing last week with a small group of staff on the 10th and the 11th. And then we started again today, and then we will do it again on Thursday. And so what we're doing is really trying to get information, figure out the logistics, as we scale up to offer testing to the entire district. We want to make sure we do it right and have all the logistics figured out. So we have been doing that these last couple of weeks. And like I said, the goal is to provide testing for all staff in January 2021. Okay, we've been very busy. I will stop there and turn it over to Mr. Sheikh Holislami, who has the next few slides.
Great, thank you, Ed. So in terms of our for safety and cleaning, we have stockpiled and have the PPE equipment for our staff to return. Again, face masks for both our teaching staff and our students as well, and additional PPE based on the type of work that our staff will be doing. We have soap and hand sanitizers available for an adequate supply to restart school. And we have a system in place by which each site's coordinators can request additional supplies to be restocked. Next slide, please. Additionally, our custodial staff have been cleaning our schools and our district office and offices throughout our schools with our current programs. And we're ready to ramp up to do the more intensive cleaning once TK5 hybrid begins. We have cleaning solutions in classrooms. We have a checklist that we have developed that will indicate the daily cleaning has taken place. Making sure that during the day, high touch points and bathrooms are cleaned regularly. In addition, we've been working with the school sites to ensure that we set up the classrooms properly with a proper spacing in the lunch areas, in the classrooms, and other locations as necessary. Next slide, please. The area we've spent a great deal of time and investment has been our ventilation and air quality systems. We have had a mechanical contractor go through all the units through the district and ensure that they are in working order and maximum fresh air is being pulled into the rooms. Where possible, staff can open their windows and doors. We have replaced almost all of our HVAC filters in the elementary and middle school, district office, and village high school. There's just a few units that we have to, that we've ordered filters, and then those will be 100% done. And the high school units, all the filters have been ordered for those units. And as soon as they arrive, all of those two schools will be completed. Mechanical units programs have been adjusted to ensure that they're moving the air continuously before school starts and after school starts. per the guidelines that have been provided by the county to us. In addition, the district has taken the additional step to provide HEPA air purifiers in every teaching classroom. Those HEPA air purifiers are in place in our Kids Club and our small cohort programs. And with the board's approval, we have proceeded to purchase the units for all our classrooms, and they are being delivered to us, and they're being shipped to the schools. As you know, not as we speak, but throughout this week, I know they were coming in and being shipped out. We're also looking at a couple other potential technologies to be deployed at school offices and district offices where the HEPA filters won't be able to provide that extra layer of protection in a smaller office space settings. So we're working on that as well. Next slide, please. Our child nutrition program is ready to move into the hybrid setting. Once we do move into that mode with the TK5, we'll have our AM families, those who will be going to school in the AM, will pick up their meals and go home through our drive-through service. And our PM families can, those students can come to school and eat lunch in designated areas that have been designed to provide that social distance within their cohort. Those will be open at the 9 elementary schools, and our students from the other schools can utilize the 9 elementary campuses for meal pickup, which is available to all community children through the age of 18. Next slide, please. And finally, I'm happy to report that the 3,000 Chromebooks that were ordered back in August have arrived. I know there are many school districts that are still waiting for their Chromebooks to arrive, but we were fortunate enough to receive those. And our technology team working with teaching and learning is working on the deployment plan as we move back into hybrid. At the last board meeting, the board authorized additional technology to support our teachers in remote and hybrid learning. And all of those requests, we worked with our teaching and learning and our teachers to have a catalog system by which we can meet their specific needs. And all of those orders have been placed, and many of those items hopefully will be arriving this month or early January, and we will support and get into the hands of our teachers. And finally, our buses have been providing transportation to our special education students in our small cohort programs, and that system is moving smoothly. And as we move into the hybrid mode, our program will ramp up, and where needed, we'll utilize outside services to meet that demand. So with that, I think I'm ready to turn it over to Dr. Woodward.
Thank you. Next slide, please, Patrick. Thank you. Thank you. This evening, I'd like to tell you a few updates from the Teaching and Learning Division, and we're going to start with the Small Cohort Supervision Program. So since mid-October, we have been implementing our Small Cohort Supervision Program, which is currently serving 35 cohorts with 205 students being taught with 87 staff members. We are continually looking to expand and grow this program in order to serve more students, and we will continue to strive to do that as long as we are in the purple tier. Next slide, please. This slide includes our planning steps leading up to school reopening for elementary school. Similar steps are in the works right now for secondary schools. From October 19th up until November the 12th, we were in the orange tier and trending positively towards the yellow tier with full anticipation that we would be able to reopen schools sooner rather than later. Then on November 16th, we shifted back to the purple tier, and this occurred during the week of the parent-teacher conferences. So the items that you see in orange on my screen are those things that occurred while we were in the orange tier. And then the items that you see in purple are those things that have occurred now that we are in the purple tier. And so when we shifted, we were during parent-teacher conferences. And as a result of this, there have been some pauses to sending some communication to our families as we await guidance for next steps and we consider the actions that we will be taken in order to plan for successful school reopening. Next slide, please, Patrick. I'd like to review right now the AM/PM instructional model that we will be implementing for our transitional kindergarten to our 5th grade students, including all elementary special day class students. This is a sample hybrid schedule. And so you can see that our model is built upon an AM and PM cohort. This reflects the AM and PM sessions. At-home learners will be supported with a schedule that is appropriate for each classroom and the learning needs of the students. You will note that site principals with input from certificated staff will determine the learning schedules. And we know that we are going to need at least the 90 minutes in between cohorts in order to effectively clean campuses. Our principals and our staffs have been working extremely hard to get the elementary school set up. And later in this presentation, you will see a video that highlights some of the steps that one of our school sites, Donlin Elementary School, has been taking in order to do so. I'd also like to just point out that our families at the elementary level will be hearing from their principals this week concerning next steps that will help to guide the student, some of the questions that parents may have had regarding student placements, with further detail happening later down the line in January. Next slide, please. So right now I'd like to talk about our secondary schedules, and this includes middle school and high school. We know that our families and students in middle and high school are also concerned about their students, as are we. And while many students are doing well, other students are experiencing hardship academically, emotionally, and socially during remote learning. I want to assure our community and our trustees that we have been and we will continue to keep planning to reopen our middle and high schools. Middle and high school principals have been working with their site reopening task forces to plan the reopening, and this includes getting input from their teachers and classified staff. In this particular slide, you will see the hybrid block schedule that was approved at the July 14th meeting of the Board of Trustees. The schedule was intentionally designed, as is the next slide for high schools, to support a similar schedule to the one that middle school students have gotten used to this year. Hybrid students who are returning to school will do so in groupings of A and B students, with half of the students returning on Monday and Tuesdays and the other half returning on Thursdays and Fridays, with all students having synchronous remote learning sessions on the days that their groups are not in session, and with remote learners being able to access learning from home. Wednesdays will continue to remain consistent as with the current schedule. Patrick, next slide. Thank you. This slide represents a sample high school hybrid schedule. As with middle school, the high school hybrid schedule is similar to the current high school schedule that their high school students have been on since the beginning of this school year. Also similar to middle school, hybrid students who are returning to school will do so in groupings of A and B students, with half of the students returning on Monday and Tuesdays and the other half returning on Thursdays and Fridays. Asynchronous instruction occurring every single day, with Wednesdays being the synchronous check-in with their teachers. Next slide. So right now I'd like to talk to you about our next steps. Secondary process for school reopening, and this is based upon our school reopening plan. So all principals, elementary and secondary, have received health and safety and physical distance protocols training from the risk mitigation team that prepares for school reopening. The risk mitigation team has been working tirelessly, visiting elementary sites numerous times in order to help them get ready. And from this, we have learned many valuable lessons that we will begin to implement as we visit our secondary sites. And those visits are being scheduled right now. And we look forward to going through the same process to support our middle and high school schools so that they will be ready to open as soon as possible. The risk mitigation team, we're still on the other slide, please. Thank you. As well, sites will continue to meet with their school reopening task forces, and professional development will continue in order to prepare our teachers for the new type of learning that will occur in terms of instructional strategies and other tools that will be needed in order to deliver a hybrid instructional model for both our students who are in school and students who are at home. In January, secondary families will be canvassed to update their preferences for attending school in person or remaining remote. And sites will finalize logistical plans, including assignments with A and B cohorts, and with the consideration of potentially transitioning our 6th grade and 9th grade students onto campus first. And with this, I'll pass now to Mr. Hernandez, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Woodward. Good evening, President Larson, board members, Superintendent Dr. Haglund, community and staff. I'd like to start by discussing negotiations. So we are in negotiations with CSEA. We do currently, though, have an MOU that covers safety, personal protective equipment, recall to work. We are continuing our negotiation efforts with our collective bargaining agreement, which is opened with our CSEA partners. We are meeting again on December 16th, tomorrow, and January 6th. Thank you. Next slide. We're also continuing our negotiations with our partners with the Association of Pleasanton Teachers. We do have a current MOU that allows us to have a full remote, a partial return and full return to school. It does cover safety. It does cover personal protective equipment, but it is a fluid circumstance, as we all know. There are orientation dates, transition dates that we have presented the board with MOUs for, and obviously they may change depending on direction of the board. So we are in a continuous negotiation with our partners, seeing that we are in a fluid circumstance. We are going to meet again on December 17th and January 7th. Thank you. Next slide. Risk mitigation team. I really want to extend my thanks to Nancy Bronzini from Human Resources, Amy Nichols from Business Services, Leslie Heller from Student Support Services, Dr. Jenny Ricard from Special Education, Dr. Pam Vandekamp from Teaching and Learning, and our president of APT, Michelle Burkeilen, and our president from CSEA, Laura Martinez, for participating in the risk mitigation team. This team is a hands-on team. They are visiting sites. They are measuring dots, making sure that they're 6 feet apart. They're ensuring that we have an isolation space, that the air purifiers are in place, that the protocols are in place, the egress and ingress of students are in place, where the pickup and drop off of students are in place. This is a real multi-divisional team with partnership with our associations to ensure that we have all the protocols and systems in place for when we open. Thank you. Next slide, please. This is the purpose of the team, to ensure that there are consistent health and safety protocols for students and staff and families in order to prepare for a smooth return to school sites. So this is our call to action for our mitigation team. And again, among all of the other duties that this team has, they've added this mitigation team. And again, they are spending a great deal of time ensuring that our sites are ready when we get to open. Thank you. Next slide. I'm going to, if we could play the video, this is our principal, Janet Gates from Donlin Elementary School, and she's going to talk to us about getting ready. I think we're having an audio issue. Mr. Gannon.
ready to reopen. To start, I have to thank Mark Smith, Adrian Hertz, Carol Stothers, and Becky Simons, our amazing Donlin office staff who've done all the work to make this possible. This is an aerial view of the Donlin campus, and you can see just one of the types of maps that we have that will be given to parents and to staff. It shows where our lunch pickup is, where cars are coming in, where walkers would be coming in. I've laid over that an example of our ingress map just so you can see the orientation. So we do have ingress maps showing where kids will come in from the front and walk around campus to go into their individual classrooms. We also have an egress map that shows how they will exit the campus. Again, most of our students will be coming in and out the front gate. Our SDC students will be coming in from the side gate as they normally do. All around campus, you'll notice these blue tapes. Those are our temporary markings that show 6 feet apart so that students and staff know how to stay safe distance from each other. We also have markings where signage will go to show direction and where people need to walk. Within our B building, we have 3 classrooms that do not have exterior doors. So we have marked interior markings so that students can safely go into their classrooms and not have too much overlap. Teachers have already begun planning how they might set up their classrooms to maintain 6 feet of distance. You'll see here one model where there are separate desks for morning students and afternoon students. Students will not share desks with the morning or afternoon groups. Here's another example of how students could stay 6 feet apart from each other with separate morning and afternoon desks. We also have our lunch tables marked 6 feet apart and not facing each other, so students are safe when they're eating for the afternoon group. And if it's raining, we will have them in our multi-purpose room, again, 6 feet apart. Benches are only on one side of the table, so students will not be facing each other inside. We have our staff rooms marked so that we have exit only and entrance only. And then within the rooms, we have spacing with the chairs and marks on the floor so that people know how to stay 6 feet apart. Hand washing stations or sanitizer are in every area of campus. Even though our students aren't on campus, there is a lot going on at Donlin. All of our staff is working hard now to make sure that our children and families have what they need, be it library books or lunches or materials for their classes. But we're also really focused on making sure that everything will be safe for our staff and our students when we finally return to campus. Our whole Donlin staff had the opportunity to see a lengthy presentation with all details last Wednesday, and they were able to offer suggestions and comments. And we know when our students return to campus, we'll continue to improve our plans and make them better and better as we figure out what works. And here at Donlin, we cannot wait to have our kids come back. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Gannon. Again, I cannot reiterate my appreciation to our associations and their leadership. They've been part of the risk mitigation team from its inception, and I appreciate the feedback that they've given us. We've been able to identify areas of concern that we could address. In the sake of transparency and working together, we are working really together to try to ensure that our school sites are ready to open when we are ready to come back to school. Thank you so much. And I think I'm passing it over to Dr. Haglin, I believe.
You got it. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. So we can jump back into the presentation there, Lanita.
Thanks for the opportunity.
There we go. So just a review about some factors that are still kind of at play in our planning process. Ed talked about the data trends, the COVID data trends, and he also shared some data relating to the Thanksgiving spike that is just now really materializing. We have the tier status and the shelter in place orders that are in place until winter break. Schools are developing their site-specific schedules. Principals are working with the school staff, which is part of our collective bargaining agreement, that teachers will be involved in that process. And I support that 100% because I think the best decisions for student learning are almost always made the closest to the kids. And that happens to be where the teachers work every day. We have our current cohort and physical distancing requirements that have shifted and may continue to shift. We have our procurement, deployment, and PD activities that are going on related to new technology. And as staff talked about, the risk mitigation programs. We have ongoing negotiations that Mr. Hernandez discussed with the labor unions. And we're still trying to manage the potential leave requests that will happen depending on how the schedules materialize at the school sites. And we're very, very fortunate and pleased that we have the testing started at the district, but we also know as of this week that the vaccinations are, they're on their way. And our essential workers, which include our teachers and other staff at the school sites, are in the early tiers of that rollout of the vaccination. And that gives us some hope. And so we've got some recommendations that we want to put before the board, some that, we don't have a whole lot of choice about, and others that we just think make sense. So let's go to the next slide. First of all, we have to adhere to the county guidance. School reopenings are currently on pause, and they will continue to be so while we're in the stay-at-home order, but also for 2 weeks after we get out of the purple tier back into the red tier. We can, however, continue to expand our small cohorts, and we hope to do so in January. And then we will revisit the reopening topic again at our first board meeting in January, which is January 14th. With regards to the elementary schools, we want to continue planning to begin hybrid learning after the shelter in place expires and 14 days after re-entering the red tier. We do not anticipate that will happen over the Christmas break. The shelter in place order does not expire until after we return on July 4th. And so again, we'll revisit that topic at the January 14th board meeting. In terms of the secondary schools, and Dr. Woodward spoke to a little bit of this already, we want to update the district's July 14th plan to reflect new guidance related or from the county health department. And then we want to review strategy for reopening secondary schools during those January board meetings. So the 14th and the 28th. So that's our recommendation, and we put that to the board tonight for approval. I'll turn it back over to you, President Larson, for questions.
Okay, so typically, I'm sure Mary Jo and Kelly have been watching lots of our board meetings, but typically after the staff presentation, we take the opportunity to see if there are any questions that the board members want to ask staff. And then we'll take public comment, and then we'll come back and if you have further questions or comments and consider the staff's recommendation at that time. If that's acceptable to everyone, then that's how we'll proceed. Does anyone have?
Larson, I have a
Yes.
question.
Sure.
Do the timing in the evening, do we want to consider public comment first?
Well, we can typically, though sometimes public comment, people hear what they're looking for by the types of questions that board members are asking. Mr. Gannon, how many comments do we have tonight on this item?
President Larson, we have about 14 comments, a little over a baker's dozen.
Actually, then, with the board's indulgence, I'm going to suggest that we take a bio break at this time, and we'll come back together. We'll see if you guys have any burning questions you want to ask at this point. We'll take public comment, and then we'll discuss and consider after that. Does that
That's our
sound?
questions when we come back, Joan, you mean?
Yeah, I think everybody could use a stretch break and a bio break if that's amenable to everyone. So can we do 5 minutes? All right, so everybody be back back in your Zoom room at 9:35.